recording too?
Yep.
Correct. We're all set. All right, we are going to call the order at 6:31. We stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next order of business is public comment. Just as a reminder, the way we work this is we have two opportunities for public comment. We always offer the first opportunity to those who attend with us in person, but we also open it up online for any virtual attendees. If you are online, do we have anybody with us?
We have two attendees.
Okay, great. So if you are interested in providing comment, please raise your hand and Devin will unmute you and you can provide your comment. But I am going to open it up for public comment in person first.
Tim Kelly, 62 West. I'm not sure where we were in the final building design, but I just want to share some thoughts. And some of this may be Frank already covered. The last schematic I saw had a large double gym configuration for the new facility, as opposed to what we have here with two separate smaller gyms. So given that the new FHS would also have a mezzanine level, I thought it made incredible sense at the time to maybe look at designing an indoor running track as part of that athletic facility, since we now would have the space ability to do that. I don't know if we've drawn up any plans to look at that or maybe costed it out. If we're spending here in town over $100 million on the facility, and it winds up being a $100,000 enhancement, that's 0.1% of the cost. And, might make sense, or frankly, might be a rounding error in the project. Second point I wanted to make is we'll obviously be doing some outside work around the campus as we, finish up the building. And one enhancement I think we should take the opportunity to do is to move the football scoreboard from where it is now, just to the other side of the football field, right? So behind the other end zone. Because when you put the new facility in, it's going to be up pretty tight to the athletic facility. So we're going to have wonderful windows, but you're going to be looking out at the back side of the scoreboard. And well, Rusty's scoreboard doesn't do much of the view. So if we're going to do some enhancements around the campus, we've got to just move that scoreboard back. My third point is when we construct a new building, I think we need to make some 21st century accommodations to the bathroom plan. This is not my area of competence, by the way. I passed that. But historically we've had a boys' room and a girls' room. I think going forward, maybe we're going to need a third room. We'll just call it X. And if you're not sure why we would want to do this, you probably haven't tuned into a Board of Ed meeting recently. Since we are putting up a facility that's going to last well into the future, and I'm not your advocating, and I don't know what the state will dictate either in terms of future requirements, but we should probably be thinking planning ahead, in terms of how we can figure that. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Tim. If anybody else, right? In person? All right, so we'll open it up to any virtual public comment. Anybody's interested, just please raise your hand.
Not seeing any hands.
Okay, excellent, thank you. All right, so we are all set for public comment. Next order of business is minutes. So if I could please have a motion to approve the attached November 3rd, 2021 minutes.
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, unanimously approved. Okay, next order of business is correspondence received 11/2/2021 to 11/26/2021. There was one piece of correspondence that was included in an agenda packet regarding building cost communications. This is a follow-up to this. We did actually, this was passed on to our communications subcommittee to start talking about this. We are actually going to try to get some more detail of what's required for, or what the thoughts are around this, to make sure that we really address what the need is. But this will be an ongoing conversation with us on how best to address cost for the project, for the community. How do we represent that on the website to make that clear and concise? But it has been put in the hands of our subcommittee, and that will be something they will work on. I also take the opportunity as well for anybody who listens to our meeting recording after the fact to please, or on the line with us now, always remember that we do have the submission form online. The contact form, please take advantage of it to ask questions, get clarification on anything. We're here to answer any additional questions. We're ramping up communications, so you'll see some more from us. We'll talk about that in the sub-communications update, but always remember that contact form is available to everybody, and please use it accordingly if any questions or thoughts or concerns you want to share with us. Okay. All right, so we are going to move right on to reports. So we got a lot to kind of review tonight and go over. The very first is the chair report. I really have just one item that I want to update the committee on. And I'm not sure if you remember, this was several meetings back. We did give a very brief update to the committee about the fact that there was a complaint submitted to the State Elections Enforcement Commission regarding some of the communications that went out pre-referendum. So all that information was responded to, the complaint was responded to via the lawyers, the town lawyers. It was submitted to the Elections Enforcement Committee. We actually did receive a response back just this week. And the SEC dismissed all 4 allegations of election violations against the town and its various agencies. So all 4 of those items have been cleared. We have received written communication around that. And so at this point, from our perspective, that is not anything we're going to focus on. We're going to move forward from there. So I just want to make sure we provided that information to everybody and just gave you that update. Any questions or thoughts on that? All right, great. That was my only update for chair report. We got a lot of information coming forward now in our reports moving forward here. So we'll see, Chris, town council liaison report, anything
No report.
specific? Nothing?
Nothing for the committee. No.
Okay. Board of Education liaison report, nothing to report, nothing specific. All right, so we're gonna go right into the owner's representative report. So, Chris?
Right, thanks. So really just the ongoing conversations we've been having with the state, the Office of School Construction Grants, relating to the descriptions that are going to be on the priority list. So I hope to have more tomorrow. I should hear something else from them. We'll have that wrapped up hopefully by the end of the week.
And the priority list comes out December 15th.
Correct, December 15th decision.
Any questions for Chris? All right, we're gonna move right on then to the architect report. That's you, Michael, right?
Yeah, thank you. So I have a lot to update this committee on for tonight. First and foremost is our application has been received by the Zoning Board of Appeals. The agenda has not been published yet, but we fully expect to be on the December 13th meeting. You may recall from an earlier report that we've been asked as a formality to go to the Zoning Board of Appeals as a way of permitting the 3rd floor of this building. We have an existing 3rd floor on campus right now, but and this is a very large parcel, but it is nevertheless in a residential zone, and the residential zoning doesn't really contemplate 3 floors above grade. So we've assembled the application with the site plan. This committee should know that the formal notice to all of the abutters, of which there are quite a lot, if you consider a 200-foot radius around this entire parcel. All of those have been mailed, so you might receive some inquiries. And in the next couple of days, there'll be a sign posted at the front of the campus notifying the public that there will be a hearing before the zoning board of appeals. So that is going to happen on the 13th, and anyone who wants to attend and speak favorably can certainly attend. And if not, you can watch it on Zoom. Second, we've been working hard with ONG on their cost estimate and comparing it against PM&C's cost estimate. That's the third-party cost estimator that we have been working with pre-referendum. So in order to provide continuity as ONG comes on board, we had both entities prepare a cost estimate. There was some difference in opinion. We have worked diligently. Well, those two entities have worked diligently. Mostly I've sat on Zoom meetings and listened to it, but going back and forth, they've come very close to a number that within 1% of one another. So I think we have a good idea of the enhanced schematic design. We are over budget, which is a normal occurrence for a building that's going through from schematic design into design development. We've been working with the building committee to understand why the number is different than what was presented in the referendum and how to get it back on track. We've got one more session with the working committee, and we believe what we would like to do is this next building committee on the 15th, we are targeting bringing forward a whole budget summary and a formal recommendation of what's going to, how the project is going to be adjusted so that we can move forward through the next phase. So we hope to bring that into conclusion this month. Thirdly, just a brief note on schedule. I think ONG will give you working on a larger schedule update, but from the design standpoint, we're right on track, right? We've pushed into a pretty sophisticated schematic design for the referendum effort. That's more advanced than some towns require. We issued that enhanced schematic design just to reset and make sure that everybody was on board. We're in a design development phase. We looked to conclude that in February formally for this committee. And then conclude construction documents as we roll into the summer. That will allow us to present those construction documents to the state, be approved to go out to bid, and ONG can take it from there. So we're in good shape from a time frame. And then lastly, as part of closing out design development, looking to do that in February and March, we intend to bring to this committee additional depictions of how the design has in fact developed. This would include sharing with you the updated drawings, showing you some study models and 3D modeling that we've been doing with our consultants in the office, showing you some additional renderings of the outside and inside of the building. So certainly not by December, but once we have the numbers recalibrated, moving into January and February, those are the presentations that we make for you. Are there any questions from the design team?
All right, great, thank you very much. So we'll move on right on to construction manager report. So Laura.
Good evening. So as was mentioned, working on a pre-construction schedule. I was working very closely with Suzanne. As Michael had mentioned, we've agreed on the dates, everything to move the project forward what everybody is thinking of, getting the kids in school, schedule as is currently planned, so everything's on track for that. I just didn't have a chance to review our schedule with the working group today, so we'll be reviewing it next Wednesday, and then I'll have the pre-construction schedule for review with you in full detail at the 15th, the meeting on the 15th, so you'll have it ahead of time. There's a lot of activities on there. There's a lot of things that we need to track. We track the design progress, we track the local and the state approval, all those approvals that we need, the meetings with the state. So you're gonna see all that on there. There's gonna be lots of detail, and I'll walk everybody through it at the next meeting, but just so that you know that it is done, it's just not fully flushed out with the working group first, so we don't really want to share it. And then the other thing was the enabling package, which I have large copies here. And can you bring up? I'm trying to actually have to take this back and down. Oh, you have one, okay. And if you don't mind, I'll talk to the screen. There's a sugar. All right, so this is what I had mentioned at the last building committee. We were looking to get an early site package going because when we start the full construction, it's going to be during the school year. And just to have the trucks rolling in and the large construction equipment, the earth moving equipment, it's a good idea to try to get ourselves separated, take advantage of next summer, and do that sort of segregation activity, put up our perimeter fencing, and then establish a revised traffic flow that's going to be needed, where the buses are going to come in, where student drop-off's going to be, where pickup's going to be, and that would be best to do over next summer when there's nobody in the parking lot and we can just do what we need to do. So walk through the various activities. This is the tutorial. So we're talking about stripping topsoil within the construction area. And the plan here has changed slightly. Originally, we were going to try to keep the tennis courts in action. But because we have so much material that we're going to be moving on the site, it's more cost effective to be able to stockpile on the actual tennis court. So that's some approach that we would like to have everybody pursue. That kind of keeps all the equipment on this side of the site. So it's stripping the topsoil in the area where the new school is going to go. There was mention of a temporary parking lot that's going to need to be constructed when we take over our perimeter fencing area. We will be taking over some spaces from you. I think it was calculated 124 spaces, from memory. Give or take, you know, we'll be losing all these spaces down here by the tennis court, and these spaces up here. So the idea is to construct a temporary parking lot so that you're not losing parking spaces during construction. Also doing this widening, so there is going to be widening of the driveway entrance. So let's get that in. Let's put signage up so the contractors know our construction vehicles that will all be established before school starts. And then constructing a temporary pedestrian path. As we know, there's a lot of walkers. We're going to have the fencing enveloping our entire construction site. So we're going to need some sort of a walkway to give them so that they can get to the school. So we would give them that sort of access. Also, how we would get them up from the temporary parking lot and up to the school. Any sort of possible site utility relocation. I'm not really expecting anything in here, but if there was anything major like sanitary, you know, that's something you want to do when school's not in as well. And then whatever construction is going to be along the buffer side, you know, the neighborhood side, we were anticipating putting that in as well. So that's the extent of the work that we're looking to do. What that means to you as a building committee is that before we even have the bids for the rest of the project, you need to be willing to, you know, pull the trigger and go ahead and award this work. Now, when we see the cost estimate on the 15th, we will have the price of this broken out. So you know kind of what you're dealing with as far as proving costs. And one more thing about this, if we do this in enabling phase, it is a separate package that the design team is going to have to prepare and go through the whole state approval process. It's that whole checklist and, you know, all the things that are associated with that. So I can't agree with this. So the idea is that also we may need traffic engineering to decide on how this temporary flow is going to work, because it is, you know, it's students draining into the parking lot. So how is that all gonna go? How are we gonna do queuing? So this kind of all needs to be looked at from a traffic engineering standpoint. So Tyson Kim's gonna be preparing a proposal for you guys to review and approve. Go ahead and, you know, add the services of this separate package. So just giving you a heads up on that. And I think that was all we're gonna talk about. So anybody have any questions as far as this enabling work, concerns?
I think we've talked about it as a working group, but really, if you could help everybody understand the benefit of doing this work
Right.
earlier than anticipated.
Right, so the benefit is that when you come back to school, however this revised traffic design from day one, school opens, this will all be in play. The hard barriers, the gates will all be up. And our construction access, so that as this construction site is going to exist for the 2 school years, that this traffic flow is what's going to be in play. So the whole reason of getting this done in the summer, so that we don't need to put up cones, keep everybody out, and then now you have contractors installing fencing, you know, while people are in the parking lot and trying to do this work, while people are coming to school, you've got stripping and, you know, laying pavement, so it's really just to minimize disruption to the school's activities to the greatest extent possible. None of this work is something that doesn't have to get done anyhow. None of this work is we're doing this and we would have had to do it anyhow. It's just, it's getting it done while there's nobody there is the most, you know, minimal disruption to the school. And that's why it just makes sense. It's not really a cost thing, it's really what makes sense. That's what we're proposing. That's it.
Any other questions for Laurel? Does that make sense to everybody? So more to come, more information on, as Laurel mentioned, on cost, what that's gonna look like.
Yeah, the cost will be reflected in our estimate in 2 weeks, so you'll know exactly what we're talking about. And the timing of this is like mid-July to mid-August. It's only, you know, we're only anticipating like 5-6 weeks worth of work, or maybe 7. But that would be the timing of it.
For completion, which is, you know, you can see the benefit, just if we can use the disruption during the school year, that's the benefit there.
That's it.
And the questions or thoughts, anything else? Or Laurel, or Lee at all? All right, great, thank you very much. All right, we move on to F7, which is Communications Subcommittee Report.
Communication Subcommittee met right before this meeting. There are three big things that we reviewed. First is a newsletter that's going to be going out to all town residents in the next probably week or so. Just to give a status update on where we are in the project. As you recall, we've approved Tall Timbers Marketing to stay on throughout the rest of the project, just so we can maintain that communication with the residents. We've done a great job of the communication so far. So well, in fact, we received an award. IRA and Tall Timbers Marketing submitted the high school building project for the Public Relations Society of America Greater Connecticut Mercury Awards. We won the Gold Award and the Best in Show for Strategic Campaign. So IRA gave us a nice trophy for all of our combined work. So thank you all. I know at the end it was a big push, but it was well worth it for our communication efforts. And then lastly, the Communications Subcommittee reviewed the Q&A questions that we had on the website previous to the referendum. We've done some revisions. We've eliminated some that are no longer relevant, and those will be back up on the website. We had stayed away from updating the website as frequently as we would have liked because we had that pending SCDC complaint. Now that that has been resolved, we'll be able to put everything back on the website and try to open up that line of communication as much as possible. So a Q&A will be back up there.
That's it. And to that point, as obviously we are all eyes and ears out in the community, if you're hearing something, if you're hearing a question come up, or if, you know, that we don't receive, we have more, and you're casual conversation with somebody, by all means, bring it forward. Send a quick email, whatever. We would love to be able to address as much as we can. Via Q&A, whether it hits the Q&A on the website or gets added to the newsletter or wherever, but if you can capture that as you're hearing it, there's a point of confusion. We've got a long timeline now. I mean, depends on who you ask if it's long or not, but when we, as we sit here in communities looking at this, probably thinking this is a long time in relative terms, so it's the most we can stay engaged, answer questions, and address anything. There's going to be a lot more to the communications plan, obviously, as we move forward. Many more newsletters. We'll probably start doing, I think we talked about another community Zoom meeting in the spring, where people can come and ask questions as well. We'll provide a presentation and update. So we're going to keep with, it just won't be at the frequency and the cadence we had during the pre-referendum, thank God for all of us. But we'll have the same methodology, the same approach that really worked well, and I think community responded to. So much more to come around communications in general. Any thoughts or questions on that? Okay. F9, professional partnership subcommittee report.
The Professional Partnership Subcommittee recently met to begin the contract negotiations with ONG. They got the ball rolling on a lot of the items that us and ONG have been going back and forth on. And we will meet, or myself and Mark Gurley from CSG are meeting with them tomorrow to continue that conversation and follow up on some of the points that were brought up by that partnership subcommittee. So hopefully we're close, but we're moving forward with the negotiations.
And we're obviously going to see a result, a lot of that work this evening was going to executive session as well. So as we're bringing on some additional professional partners that we're going to discuss later tonight, that was all part of the effort of professional partnerships as well. Any questions on that? Okay. All right, so last report evening is financial report.
So in your agenda packet, it's only an update to the invoice tracking document. There were no additional expenses for our building committee account, so there is no update on that. The tracking document just provides the invoices that are in tonight's agenda for approval, just updates them on this document.
Questions? We're going to move right into new business. So very first item on the agenda, I give a motion to approve the 2022 FHS building committee meeting schedule.
Second.
Any discussion? This is quick note, so this was a result of the survey that went out to everybody. Thank you for great participation on that. Due to the results of that survey, you will see based on the list included, then we will change our meeting start time to 5 p.m. And the FHS in the library right here, same location. Just as a side note, not one person voted for our current meeting time. So thank you, Johnny, for bringing as an option. Nobody was saying anything and nobody wanted that start time. So I think this is great. So we have the full schedule here for us to approve. Another note just before we actually go ahead and vote on it, just as you can see, it's still that 2-week schedule. We're putting them on the calendar because it's a lot easier to cancel than not. And then, obviously we'll adjust accordingly if for some reason there are, we just want to make sure the time's there if we need it to make sure we can make decisions and move forward. But this is the scheduled date. We will still have virtual opportunities for people to attend if necessary. All that will still remain the same. So any other discussion or thoughts on it? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, unanimously approved. All right, we're going to go right into the invoice approval. So can I have a motion to approve the attached invoice from Construction Solution Group in the amount of $22,597.
Second.
So this invoice is for professional services rendered regarding the Farmington High School design through November 2021. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimously approved. Item number G3, can I get a motion to approve the attached invoice from Construction Solutions Group in the amount of $1,030? Second. So this invoice is for professional services regarding the central office locker room renovation rendered through November 2021. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimously approved. Right on to item G4. A motion to approve the attached invoice from O&G Industries in the amount of $35,000. So this invoice is for professional services rendered regarding the Farmington High School project for the months of October and November 2021. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimously approved. And P5, a motion to approve the attached invoice from O&G Industries in the amount of $3,384.62. This invoice is for professional services rendered regarding the central office locker room renovation project for the month of October and November 2021. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimously approved.
That's a question. In the future, if we have this, but if we just do it as a consent agenda.
Sure. If no one has objections, make it a little easier. So it would just be, you have obviously in your agenda ahead of time, right? You would do one motion.
If everyone's okay with doing it that way,
I see it sometimes.
Well, and if you wanted to pull something off, you could.
yeah, absolutely.
Was there a reason why it has to be item list?
We itemize it because we have the two separate state projects. But if you're approving it regardless if it's on a consent version.
There needs to be separate invoices, but the approval doesn't matter.
And as Michael said, if you have a concern, raise that prior to vote, if it's pulled out.
And the notes will all be the same, but it'll just be under one motion. So all the information that's required will still be there.
Yeah.
All right, great suggestion.
For next time. It has to be more efficient.
Take our 20-minute meetings done.
No, you love a fish.
Okay, all right, so next order of business is actually G6, which is executive session. So could I get a motion to move into executive session? This is for the review and discussion of RFP responses for commissioning services and professional engineering services in accordance with the Connecticut General Statutes listed here.
So moved.
Second.
Just a note, executive session is to review and discuss the RFP responses, as I said, for commissioning services and professional engineering services. The attendance in the executive session shall be limited to voting and non-voting members of the Farmington High School Building Committee, representatives from TSKP, representatives from the CSP, and representatives from O&G services. Any additional discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Great, so we will move into executive sessions. Anything need a break, or do you want to go right in?
We do have to do a little
exciting.
I really blocked that out.
Yeah,
That was dramatic. Okay. I think we're good.
Yeah,
Back
not
on.
to be on here, but.
Nothing there, but we're on Zoom.
Welcome back. Okay, you good? I'm good. Okay, so out of executive session, we're actually going to put forward two motions. The first, can I have a motion to select the final candidates for interview for professional engineering services? The shortlisted firms are Diversified Technology Consultants, Inc. and Russell and Dawson.
So moved.
Second.
Hold on. I had something that say
Let's just make sure it's not for interviews.
okay, so again, the motion, just to be very clear, is like the final candidates for shortlist. So the two firms as in the motion, any additional discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimously approved. And then, could I get a motion to select kind of candidates for shortlist for commissioning services?
So moved.
Those are BDH Integrated Services, Consulting Engineering Services, Innovative Engineering Services, LLC, and Sustainable Engineering Solutions, LLC. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimously approved. Excellent. Thank you very much, everybody. Final item on the agenda. Can I get a motion to adjourn? Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Adjourned at 7:35. Thank you, everyone.
Aye.
Oh, thank you.